Let's go to the second biggest game on the schedule for me. Number 9, Ole Miss at number 2, Georgia. Georgia's getting 10.5 in the hook. They get 10 and the hook, excuse me. That feels like a lot because I immediately looked at this game when I'm supposed to pick it before the show and I flinched. There were 2 seconds in there where I was like, Ole Miss could do this because Ole Miss is basically Missouri 2.0. They're deeper and I think more talented at the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receiver spots, right? Which is where Missouri is doing a lot of its damage. And I think Pete Golding is ready for this game, right? That's how you got to go into it if you're Ole Miss. You got to go in and say, we're going to put up 40, and Pete, go get us a couple of stops. And, without Brock Bowers on the field, right, and without Dumas Johnson on the defensive side, best player on defense, I think you still got a shot to go into Sanford and, do a little Fox in there, right? Make them Sanford boys your sons. That's a Red Fox reference that I'm just stretching too far. I'll let it go. But Ole Miss is also 0-3 against top 5 opponents under Lane Kiffin. Again, Georgia has been Georgia for the past 3 years, really going back to 2017 if we're being honest about this, because you got to also go back to 2016 for the last time that Ole Miss able to beat Georgia. But that's just 1 out of the last 11, meaning Georgia has won 10 out of the last 11 between these two. And this one comes with another milestone for Georgia. They have won 26 straight, okay? They can become the first team in SEC history to win 29 straight. 28 straight is the record. 1978, 1980, Bear Bryant's Alabama, right? Getting in there. But my goodness, it feels like this UGA team is less about being dominant and more about being the team that finishes the three-peat. Because I think with each passing year, right, 2021, 2022, 2023, those teams have gotten less talented, but they're still really, really, really good. And that's the point to raise here. I'm getting to a point to where Georgia feels kind of synonymous with Alabama, where you don't really have to know who's on the roster to know that who it makes the 2 deep is probably going to be drafted in the 1st or 2nd round come the NFL draft in April, because that's just how they're recruiting. It is becoming its own conveyor belt there in Athens, the way that many people thought it would be when they got the right guy, and Kirby Smart has certainly been the right guy. I think Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, Quinshon Judkins can get at that Georgia defense. I think they can make it hard on Glenn Schumann and them. I just don't know if Pete Golding and that defense can stop Carson Beck or Dejan Edwards from doing what they have done. Not to say nothing of Ladd McConkey, who's just another dude that's coming along. So I expect it to be tight. I expect it to go into the 4th quarter. And because Georgia has basically been Ohio State this year going, we're not going to really start playing football until the second half. We're going to be silly until the second half. And then we will remind you who we actually are. That's worked for Georgia, who has been tied or down at halftime in 5 out of 6 games against SEC opponents. But against a team like Ole Miss that can score, you're going to have a hard time. Now, Ole Miss's only loss is to Bama, right? Bama's sitting pretty in the SEC West, looking like the SEC West champ. But you get a win against Georgia, all of a sudden, we have to take you seriously as a college football playoff contender, to say nothing of Alabama would have to finish strong to get into that SEC West spot because, well, their only loss is out of conference to Texas. So we'll keep an eye on this one, but I really hope this game is good. I really do, because I think it has the makings of a classic, given what Lane Kiffin is capable of and given what Kirby Smart is capable of. But I'm picking Georgia because, well, chalk, this time of year, you're looking at not just who is healthy and how they're playing, but how deep they go. And Carson Beck continues to get better without Brock Bowers on the field. It's forcing him to go to other people. It's forcing him to say, Brock can't save me. And also, you're getting to see a defense that's got a little backbone to them too. They had to come up with a couple of stops against Missouri late to win that game. But we'll see, right? Because I think they're going to get tested this weekend, and I expect it to be tight. Now, if you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.